What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, the man known as Blair Cobbs, took on Alexis Rocha tonight, became the main event because the main event fighter, undefeated Mexican superstar welterweight title contender Virgil Ortiz Jr., suffered a illness in which he had to be pulled from the fight. He was scheduled to face Michael McKinson, undefeated British fighter, welterweight title contender in Michael McKinson. But again, that was rescheduled. So Michael McKinson dropped down to the co-main event. Blair Cobbs was supposed to face off against Alexis Rocha as the co-main event initially, okay? Blair Cobbs in this fight, leading up into this fight, called out a lot of fighters. He called out undefeated rising welterweight superstar title contender Jerron Boots Ennis. He called out undefeated unified WBC IBF welterweight world champion who is widely considered top 3 best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, and Earl the True Spence Jr. He called out undefeated 3-division world champion who currently is the WBO reigning welterweight world champion and widely considered by many to be the #1 best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, and Terrence Bud Crawford. He's called Errol Spence an alcoholic that hadn't faced any adversity, and he didn't have the same look in his eyes and fire in his eyes to want to continue and be a world champion moving forward. And he had a lot to say. Errol Spence went back and forth with him, or responded to him, calling him a 33-year-old prospect. He went into this fight with Alexis Rocha, 15 wins, no losses, no draw, 1 draw, 10 wins by way of knockout, 32 years of age, 5'10" and a half, with a 72-inch arm reach. Okay, Alexis Rocha, he was coming into this fight 18 wins, 1 loss, no draws, 13 wins, 12 wins by way of knockout. He had previously, his loss came to Speedy Rashidi Ellis. That was back in October of 2020, where Ellis won a unanimous decision. But Alexis Rocha, who is 24 years of age, 5'10" with a 70-inch arm reach. So he is 8 years younger than Blair. Blair, he stated that a lot of fighters was avoiding him. He even called out Michael McKinson to replace Virgil Ortiz Jr. in the fight. And Blair Cobbs got in this fight and was dominated, okay? Alexis Rocha was putting a lot of pressure on him, going to the body, just working Blair Cobbs. And in the 9th round, he ultimately got stopped, okay? He stopped him in a 10-round fight. Alexis Rocha stopped Blair Cobbs in impressive fashion that Blair Cobbs didn't even know the referee jumped in and stopped it. And Blair Cobbs hit the referee with 2 hooks to the body because he thought it was Alexis Rocha. When you have, now Alexis Rocha's 19 wins and 1 loss, no draws, 13 wins by way of knockout. So when you bring that much attention to yourself, and you start calling out the creme de la creme in your division and in the sport of boxing, Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford are top 3, not just in the welterweight division, but pound for pound. Okay, Jerron Boots Ennis is seen as the face of the sport of boxing in the future. And you're calling out all these fighters. Okay, you called out Michael McKinson. He called out Virgil Ortiz Jr., and he stated that Virgil Ortiz Jr. suffered the illness because Virgil Ortiz Jr. was essentially using illegal performance enhancers, allegedly, okay? And so you get in this fight with Alexis Rocha. You say you're tired of fighting fighters in this level. You want to fight bigger name fights, bigger fights overall. You want to be in world championship fights. You tired of fighting these low-level guys like Alexis Rocha. He said no disrespect to him, but he still said he was a low-level type of fighter. He wanted to fight the best of the best. And so he didn't even get past Alexis Rocha, okay? This was an action-packed fight. Blair Cobbs, he showed heart, right? He was letting them fly until the very end. As I stated, he ended up hitting the referee with 2 hooks to the body, okay? He is late in his career, so I understood the reason why he's being vocal, because at this stage of Blair Cobbs' career, he has to start being vocal, okay? At 32, going on 33 years of age this year, there's no more time. He's up against the clock. So I understood being very vocal, and I understood the fact that, he was asked a question about these fighters, and this was just his opinion and his response. But nonetheless, when you go as far as he went, especially with Errol Spence and with Virgil Ortiz Jr., and saying Virgil Ortiz Jr., alleging that he may have dibble and dabble in alleged performance enhancers, saying Errol Spence has a drinking problem, allegedly, and saying none of these guys face adversity like he's faced growing up through his life and in his career. You bring a lot of attention and a lot of heat to yourself, and you got to back it up. And unfortunately, he didn't back it up tonight, okay? He called out Jaron Boots Ennis, said he was avoiding him, said he dominated Jaron Boots Ennis in sparring and Jaron Boots Ennis' gym, and that these guys knew who he was and what he could do, and they was avoiding him. He wanted to be the bigger name, and he got on the biggest stage, and he's a guy who is a fan and looks up to wrestler, Hall of Fame iconic wrestler Ric Flair, who in this manner, Ric Flair brought a lot of attention to himself. Ric Flair brought, was very brass, very outspoken, but he could back it up on the biggest stage. And Blair Cobbs going into this fight, only had 16 fights at 32 years of age, okay, with 10 knockouts. So it's not like, he was putting in a ton of work in the sport of boxing, and his resume was built up and these guys was just avoiding him. He just wasn't active. 32 years of age with 16 fights. Okay, Shakur Stevenson is 24 and he has 17 fights. Okay, so, a lot of fighters that have that type of resume are Eastern European fighters like Alexander Usyk that has 19 wins, or, Dmitry Bivol, who has 19 wins, and these guys are in their 30s. Vasyl Lomachenko, who has 18 fights, but that's because they stay in the amateurs very, very long. That wasn't the case with Blair Cobbs. He just wasn't active as a professional, okay? And so, unfortunately, it caught up to Blair Cobbs. He showed a lot of heart. It was an action-packed fight. I'm sure he'll be back on the big stage and maybe a rematch with Alexis Rocha. But Alexis Rocha now got the opportunity, made a name for himself, and now, he's going to be somebody that people look to fight. Maybe Jaron Boots Ennis has a fight coming up May 14th, co-main event to Jamel Charlo versus Brian Castano, Undisputed Showdown, May 14th. He's going to fight Custio Clayton, another undefeated fighter from Canada, and this is an IBF title eliminator. So this is an opportunity for Jaron Boots Ennis to make a name for himself, and maybe Alexis Rocha is a fight that Jaron Boots Ennis gets, moving forward. Who knows? Let's see how this all unfolds and plays out. But Blair Cobbs stopped in the 9th round by Alexis Rocha. That's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon, and get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like and share these videos. That's all I got for y'all. Peace.